We're going to do a couple things. One, I'm going to teach you a couple new concepts for your elevator pitch to hopefully strengthen it, make it more memorable, make you more comfortable with it. But before we do that, a show of hands, how many people have an elevator pitch as they sit here today? Show of hands. So we got some that have an elevator pitch. How many people that have an elevator pitch aren't 100% satisfied with how it comes across when you're giving it? Anyone wish they could do it a little bit better? Because one of the things I've learned in teaching business people, teaching adults is the best way adults learn is to hear it. And you may remember 10% of what you hear. If you left this room and someone quizzed you on all the things we talked about, you'd remember about 10%. If you write it, it jumps to a whopping 20%. If you actually say what you learned, it jumps to 80%. So by actually learning the concept, applying the concept, and doing the concept, you'll come out of here really with a stronger elevator pitch, and that's really my goal today. And hopefully you could use this in your TAB meetings. Hopefully if you come to these on-the-bus events that Chris runs, it gives you an opportunity to do it. But more importantly, as business owners, this is something that you can bring back to your sales force if they're out there networking. Because how consistent do you think your salespeople are with their elevator pitch representing your business? And this is a way to give them some new concepts, new ideas, and have a consistent message that's being sent out on your company. So we start off, if you look at the sheet, does everyone have one at this point? If we look at the blank, the first one is a piece of cake, and I want you to fill it out as we go, because you're actually going to be doing your elevator pitch this morning, and everyone's going to have about a 30-second window. The example that I wrote, and I'll go through that as we go through this, I timed it last night. It took me about 38 seconds, so a little over 30 seconds. So we want to try to keep it to that. Now, some of the concept of an elevator pitch, you want it to be memorable. You want to connect to that person or that group of people, such as this. If you stood up and told your elevator pitch, what I find most people have a very intellectual statement of what it is they do, which isn't always memorable because it is not connecting with the other person at a gut level, at an emotional level. So the first piece of this is pretty straightforward. It's your name, it's your company. You can add where you're located, what your role is if you like to say that. If you look at mine, I just say, my name is Chip Reichhard. I run Sandler Training in Parsippany. Straightforward, not a whole lot beyond that. And if you go to networking events, sometimes you have to have a 10-second elevator pitch, which you just use that first piece for. For members of the chamber, we have a 10-second one. We also do a 2-minute drill, and I would build this format for a 2-minute drill and just expound on some of the other areas. This next piece, the pain statement, may be a new concept to you, and this is the piece that draws attention. When you say your name and your company, you know, that's not going to get people too excited. This next piece is what hopefully, if we craft it the right well, will connect at an emotional level with the group of people that you're talking to. And when I say connect at an emotional level, pain is something that draws people in. If you look at good advertisements, many times it attacks your emotional system. And what we look at is what are the problems and issues and challenges that your company solves that will get people's attention. So if I just said, hey, I do sales training, you know, that's kind of, you know, people kind of know what sales training is. But if I word it in a way like this, typically when I meet a prospect and I'm listening to what they say, they tell me that they're not sure that their sales team has the desire, commitment, or the skills to bring their company to the next level. Do you think a business owner could relate to that possibly? Do you think it may connect here? Number two, they're constantly worried about the quality and the quantity of their pipeline. Anyone relate to that in this room? Number three, their sales cycles are getting longer and longer, and they're not sure why. Number four, they're tired of having to resort to cutting price to get the deal done. So I hit 4 bullets there. If I have a longer one, I'll hit 5 or 6 or 7 bullets. So what I want you to do is think in terms of if you met with a new prospect and they were telling you the issues and challenges they have that you're there to solve. And what I want you to do is come up with a couple statements, but you'll see I used a few words there, so it wouldn't just be an intellectual statement of pain. And to help you with it, I have a neat little thing called FUDWACA. Anyone know what FUDWACA is? FUDWACA, it's kind of a technical term, and it's CA, FUDWACA. These words, and you may want to flip one of the sheets over and write some of these words down to help craft your pain statements. The first one is frustrated. So if you can incorporate, hey, typically when I meet with a prospect, I hear that they're frustrated with this. That will make it more impactful. Second word could be upset with or upset about. The third word could be, there's a couple D words, distraught, disturbed, disappointed. I'll put disappointed down. Worried. Angry. Angry about. Concerned with. And annoyed. So these are kind of pain-provoking words that you should try to use one of these words or others. I got lots of others, but FUDWAC is easy to remember. To incorporate. You see, I use some of those in my statements where you look at, worried about, tired of, or other words like that. So take a minute and think of some of the pains that you solve for your prospects and put a couple. You don't have to have 4, you could have 2 or 3 bullets. And I want to give you a minute to do that before I move to the next piece. All right, as you're writing, I'm going to go on to the next piece. And that's the benefit statement. So if these are the problems that the prospects have, how do I solve them? What is it that I do? What are the benefits of working with your company? So in my case, we provide training and coaching. That's what I do with companies. And I try to, again, connect emotionally, saying that people that need to sell to survive. How many people can relate to that? I don't care whether you're a CPA, an attorney, a sales training company. I need to sell to survive myself. And we help our clients through increasing their confidence, because that's a kind of an intangible thing that is a result of the training. Establish trust with prospects. Prospect more effectively, addressing that pipeline issue. Take control of the sales process, dealing with those longer cycles. Shorten sales cycles and improve their overall results. So put your benefit statement, and having bullets like that I think are powerful from two perspectives. One, it's easier to remember. And if you're like me, when I go to a networking event, and I've been doing it for years and years and years, I have multiple of these, but I'll have this in my car. I'll sit in the parking lot 5 minutes before I go in and review my 30-second commercial and just have it in my head. And it's a good thing if you're not doing that, so you're prepared, because it isn't just the words. We're writing words down right here. But if you've ever taken classes on communications, what are the other intangibles other than the words that are going to impact your message? Body language is huge. That's probably the biggest, and your tonality. So if I'm unsure, if I'm uneasy about what it is I'm going to say, or if I'm reading it, how is that going to come across? So the act of actually writing it, thinking it through. How many people do you think go to a networking event and don't have something like this? And then they're put on a spot and they say, okay, what do you do? And it doesn't always come across so well. And so, getting out of your comfort zone, getting out of your box, doing something differently to get that message across is what we're shooting for. So if you could write some bullets, and I see a lot of you are kind of a step ahead, what are some of those things that you solve for your clients? And then lastly, what a good lead for you is. If I'm at a networking event, it's all about, hey, not me selling you, but it may be someone that you know that could use the help that I have. And mine, I just put really straightforward. A good lead for me is someone who's dealing with this stuff I just talked about. So if you know someone who's struggling with long cycles, struggling with not hitting the numbers, not worried about their pipeline and things like that, that's a good lead. And then lastly, I like restating your name and company, because sometimes by the time you get to the end of the 30-second commercial, they forgot what your name was and who you were. So restating that. And then, so doing this in a concise way. And if you're not writing, hopefully you are writing, because we will be going around table by table, standing up, doing our 30-second commercial. And hopefully, as a result of that, one, you'll have a chance, you will have written it, practice saying it once, you can get some critique from your board, and maybe even bring these to your next board meeting and do them at the start. Because networking is a great way to grow your business. I don't know if Paul's still here, but when I bought Sandler Training, the first thing I did was join the Morris County Chamber. Had never really done networking as part of my marketing in the past, and it's been a huge success as far as bringing on new clients.
Mm-hmm.